Well,
category I fit into.
tell us about forecast. I look at your posts, and you're like probably the most prolific poster, and I think that's a compliment more than anything else. It means you're top of mind constantly. But tell me about forecast, like the meat and potatoes of what you guys do, and explain it to me like I'm a 5-year-old, because that's probably the best place to start, at least for me. You know.
Simple way of describing it, it helps people evaluate oil and gas properties. So oil and gas deals. User takes the software has a partnership with a data company called RexTag, and then we did a collaboration with NewTek. So it's
Yeah.
like an all-in-one type of application. Some people have kind of referred to it like Zillow for minerals, though I don't necessarily agree with that comparison, because Zillow is just taking, market prices
Yeah.
of what things have sold for and aggregating that, but we're automating the engineering workflow. So it's not so much based on what things have sold for, but what things are worth in a given moment.
Okay. Gotcha. And so if I was effectively like looking to go buy oil wells or something like that along those lines, like that's when I would say, okay, I need something like your service to evaluate if it even makes sense to do it economically. Does that make sense? Is that right?
Yeah, you can take
Okay.
the software and prospect to go find wells to buy, well stuff that you have, make sure you get the best price for it.
Okay. Wade, on your side of things, like on the engineering side, is this something that you would use, or where would this kind of fall into the workflow of your
I think it definitely, I mean, not necessarily on the drilling engineering side.
yeah.
We use like an Enverus or a drilling info, but I'm usually looking at like casing seats and wellbore designs and all that. So, we're not really involved in the deal flow a lot, just kind of on that drilling operation side. But I think definitely on the land side or whatnot, I think that'd be something that they'd look at. And so that kind of leads me, like one of the questions I had was, like I would imagine there's competitors in the space. Is like an Enverus or an IHS or somebody like that. I mean, those are kind of behemoths, right? Whatever you think of them. But is that who you'd say the biggest competitors for kind of forecast are, or doing
From
something similar?
Yeah, I mean, from the data perspective, probably I kind of put products in two different buckets in this space. There's data and there are tools, right?
Right.
Some applications have data incorporated and some don't. Ours does. And we
Hmm.
focus on the tool side more than the data side. So that's why we partnered with RexTag and worked with NewTek and taken some large steps to help improve the overall public database that we provide through those vendors. So
Hmm.
that's a
Okay.
long answer. Didn't really answer the question, but so on the data side,
Yeah.
yeah, Enverus and IHS would probably be considered competitors. They called me 5 years ago and told me that we were a competitor and that we weren't allowed to use their products. So that probably confirms it.
I would
Gotcha.
say so. Are you
Oh,
adding, is it something where it's like, okay, we have all the states at once, or we have all the data at once? Are you adding in different basins as you go, or how did the evolution of this kind of go? Because it sounds like, if 5 years ago you were told that you were a competitor, it's like you started somewhere. So how did you get to where you're at now?
In the very beginning, we just manually scraped like 100 Oklahoma wells as a test for the prototype. Went into the OTC and I think literally hand typed out data for some fairly new horizontal wells. Used that to kind of create the test case, and then over time built relationships with data partners. First worked with Mineral Answers and did that for a while, and then eventually met RexTag and kind of transitioned over to that. And yeah, so that's how it began. We were building
Yeah.
it effectively for ourselves internally to use it as like a consulting entity, but that was during COVID 2020 and there was no consulting revenue to be found anywhere.
Right. Yeah.
So we try and see what software sales was like.
Right.